Last week we had the General Dental Council's virtual visit. If you would like to find out how it went, stay tuned. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Reza Roudsari. I'm the Director of Undergraduate Education here at the School of Dentistry, University of Manchester. And thanks a lot for joining me on this episode of Manchester Molars. So last week we had our General Dental Council visiting us virtually, of course, on both the BDS and the BSc OHS programs. General Dental Council expects all educational providers to prepare their graduates at the level of a safe beginner. And the aim of the meeting last week was really for them to ensure that all the preparations we have done for our final year students on both programs is appropriate and giving them enough clinical exposure and experience to be at the level of a safe beginner. They also want to double check that how we are monitoring clinical progress for you guys, and also if you have made any changes in terms of our expectations for a safe beginner. And of course, we are gathering this data and we are sharing this with you as regularly as possible. And we understand that General Dental Council is coming again in January to see how the data is progressing and if there is any areas that we have to focus on or not. So we'll watch this space and see how it goes. Yesterday we had both our UPC, which is the Undergraduate Program Committee, as well as the SSLC, which is the Staff Student Liaison Committee, back to back. And what I would like to do is to invite you to watch select footage of these two meetings.
Yes, the situational judgment tests finished on Tuesday, yesterday. They've been going on for a week now, and the final students completed their SJTs yesterday afternoon. And we've been keen to try and remove the pressure from the fifth years and not to try and overload them with too many things and too much information, so that when they go to the situational judgment tests, they're clear thinking and they don't start to get bogged down by detail. And I think, having spoken to the ones today that completed them, they said it went okay, and that was good news. Regarding the present state of play, we're now moving on to the communication interviews, which was agreed by Carly and myself that would replace so much of the coursework that they would have done at the end of fourth year. So we have all the assessors from Winshaw scheme, all the FDs have agreed to be assessors, we've got 20 of them, and the fourth years again have agreed to help out as patients. So I don't expect any problems with that, Reza, and I think that should go very smoothly. And it is merely just to test to see, can they explain treatments to patients? And it's part again of the GDC ILOs. I've explained to them it isn't a pass-fail interview, it's really more feedback, and they will be marked, and we can basically target any extra training that we think they may need. I will say this morning we had a very, very successful AGP sessions. All three AGP sessions went very smoothly, and the non-AGP went very smoothly. I am having to go to have a chat with Colin just to iron out any problems with booking patients. That's actually what I'm going to do this afternoon. But I have to say it is getting better every week. I've also spoken to quite a few of the fourth years, and they've been very good assistants, but also the fourth years are being fit tested, so there's a great chance for them to actually assist during AGPs if we need them. And I know they're pretty keen, and I'm sure, Lisa, you would confirm that, wouldn't you, that you'd be quite keen to help during AGP, is that right?
Yeah, it's good to get as much clinical experience as we can at the moment.
Because it's very much like a team effort and everybody seems to be enjoying it, so I think that's great.
The only thing for me probably to report on behalf of Alison is the scheme for the Adopt a BDS Year 4 student, which we trialed it for the past 2 weeks, and I think it's working quite well. I had quite a number of them on a variety of my clinics, consult, treatment, both AGP and non-AGP. So what we've got is, because at the moment we only got 15% of the clinical capacity in the dental hospital compared to pre-COVID, we used all our capacity to bring our Year 5 BDS students and Year 3 BSc students in. Having said that though, after 2 or 3 weeks being in play, we realized we do have many staff members who are seeing patients without having an undergraduate attached to them, and we thought this is a massive waste of everybody's time and space if we don't utilize that. So therefore, I had to write to pretty much all clinicians on the NHS side saying, if you are running a clinic of any nature, would you please adopt a year 4? So going to the next item, which is Rebecca's senior tutor report. Rebecca?
Yep. I think the good news is that the dentistry inclusion group have had their first meeting. So that was them and me and Anne-Marie as head of division. And we were also joined by Kath Prescott from ED&I at the university. So it's very early days, but we've started to do a few things. So they really have revised an algorithm for reporting incidents around harassment or aggression, and that's gone out via social media. We're looking for a BSc representative, if there is someone who'd like to take that on. And then I'll perhaps pass over to my student colleagues to add in.
Yeah, just want to thank Dr. Craven for everything she's been doing to help, improve inclusivity at the dental school. And I think she really understates how much work she's done towards that. So yeah, we've got a meeting as a group tomorrow where we're going to kind of discuss what key aims we want as a group working towards improving issues on race and inclusivity.
We're very, very early days with this. Where this came from was that a sort of informal group of students perceived that there were issues that weren't being addressed, there were problems, and they did a little, well, not a little survey, a very impressive survey of the student body around these issues, and produced a report and fed that into, particularly to Anne-Marie and Reza and myself. So this is a sort of working through quite a list of issues that we've had listed from that, really. And I should have said one of our main items of things to do is training, particularly for staff, but also for students. So hopefully we've got things planned through Kath for starting in January.
I just wanted to say that the whole group, kind of the catalyst for the whole group was what was going on during the summer with in America with Black Lives Matter and George Floyd. So I feel like when we started this idea, it was very kind of heavily focused on race, but including things with the LGBTQ community is not, I don't think it's something we're opposed to. And as Lisa mentioned before, we're definitely still trying to figure out what we actually want to do and what our actual aims are. So we are coming together as a group this week to discuss that. So I think that's definitely something that we'd consider focusing on as well. But as Lisa and Dr. Craven had mentioned before, because we're still quite new, we're just kind of trying to figure it out. But it's definitely not something I think we're opposed to or anything like that. It's definitely something we're considering as well.
So next is NHS liaison report, and Sarah, welcome to this meeting. It's the first one. I don't know whether you got anything to report back to the UG committee, please.
No, I mean, obviously we've started to see the undergraduates back in now, and I think we've worked through the teething problems, shall we say, about getting them back in with the AGP, non-AGP restrictions that we have and the guidelines that we have to work towards. We've changed a few things as we've gone along that we've realised that we can improve on. We do still find that some students do want to book extras and things, and we just can't accommodate that anymore. So I think we've fed that back through the relevant channels just to make sure that both the tutors and the students know that where an AGP room is allocated, that's all we've got. We're literally managing them session by session, the AGP rooms, so then they're not available as much as what we'd like. We are looking at things to do with the estate to try and improve that situation, such as air scrubbers, ventilation, but unfortunately it's not a quick fix and it's not something that we can just make do. So we have to go through the proper channels we are doing something about it, and we will keep everyone updated as much as we can. And then just to reinforce really the hands, face, space policies that we have, there's masks and gels at the door. Surgical masks need to be worn, well, not the FFP3s, but the fluid resistant mask needs to be worn at all times. Even if you're in the common room, the filling station, and collecting something, unless you sat down eating, everyone needs to be wearing the fluid resistant masks and gelling their hands at every opportunity that they can, and making sure that they look after each other as well as themselves, and in the sense of keeping people safe.
And also just one item for Sarah to meeting, and I'm just going to put it as an action point so we have it done, is we had a couple of, again, teasing problems with the doffing stage of the AGP, because although most students are very good at setting things up, but obviously they're very unfamiliar with how to doff and clean or tidy or not tidy. So there was a bit of confusion. So as far as I know, Ellie and Rabs are trying to put together like a protocol, or whether we would like to call it a checklist, to be laminated on every single AGP room. So you guys have to then follow a step by step of how to tidy before you leave and doff your mask, etc. So there will be no confusion. So we just make it an action point to make sure it is done before the next meeting.
Because I think it's new to everybody, isn't it? You know, none of us that are clinical have ever had to work in this way before, where you go in a room and there's not even a box of gloves in there if you're in an AGP room, where before just the gloves you could just take away. So it is just everyone just learning together and just making sure that we all follow the same patterns, really.
Sara and Zarah, MDSS report, please.
Hiya. So we've actually had quite a lot going on in terms of MDSS recently. Just like the merch has gone up for sale now, it's like the hoodies and the sweatshirts.
Also, thank you to Dr. Shupak. I think after we last talked about one of the extracurricular talks we were planning to organise, he's taken responsibility, well, not taken responsibility, but he decided that he'll do the lecture with his business partner, Dr. Valence. So the theme of that will be dental student to associate, and that's next Monday evening. It's Mouth Cancer Awareness Month. So we decided to try and do what we can for that. So the national event is Blue Wednesday, which is next Wednesday. So we put out a few posters and stuff to hopefully get people involved. And we've ordered a box of blue badges, which will hopefully go in accounts in the dental hospital, which will be something like £2. It's just a symbol that Mouth Cancer Awareness Month are going for.
And so we did our food bank appeal, which was just where people dropped off, I think we spoke about it in the last UPC meeting. So we just need to go and collect that, but we had a quick glance and it looks like it's doing quite well. So that was quite good.
So just remind us where things are kept, if anybody wants to contribute to the food bank.
They're behind the reception desk in Coupland 3. Simon was collecting.
With Simon. Okay,
yeah.
Thank you.
In terms of the charity as well, if you remember, we did the sponsored walk over summer, which was against Sheffield Dental School.
Yeah.
So the money that we got, which was just under £700 for that, we've donated half of it now. So we sponsored an orphan in Yemen. So it's in the name of Manchester Dental School, and it's a 7-year-old girl. She was orphaned when she was 3. We've been sent out the profile for it, and yeah, that was something really nice.
So we've got a new MDSS magazine called Hot Off the Pole. This was a suggestion that our social reps put out, and I think their main aim for it was just like a stepping stone. If anyone was interested in writing articles or anything like that, it'd be a good place just to put like their first articles that they're writing in it.
Right, ladies and gents, we come to the end of another episode of Manchester Molars. Until next Thursday, I've been Reza Roudsari, you've been amazing, and see you next week.